One of the things that we do is, that's something that our students did, and I'm really excited about that to kind of have them get involved in this. But a lot of what I do kind of takes place at this table.
April is National Poetry Month. The Academy of American Poets inaugurated National Poetry Month in 1996. Since then, it has become the largest literary celebration in the world, with schools and libraries celebrating the vital place poetry holds in our culture. The successful celebrations of Black History Month in February and Women's History Month in March inspired the American Academy of Poets. WSU's social sciences librarian, Lorena O. English, decided to join in the celebration at the Holland Terrell Library.
So I actually never really, I've always loved poetry, but I never did anything with National Poetry Month until some years ago. I was reading the New York Times and I found this big full ad from I don't even remember who it was, sort of the National Academy of Poets or a group in New York City, and they were doing this thing called Poem in Your Pocket Day. And I just thought that was just wonderful, and I really liked that idea. So I actually kind of set up a Poem in Your Pocket Day station. It started off as the last day of April.
O. English and Clinical Assistant Professor of English at WSU, Brian Fry, share why they believe poetry should be celebrated.
I think it's important because you learn how to use language and the right kind of language, and how language works in order to be convincing, which you can do in anything, whether you're trying to get funding from somebody or whether you're trying to get approval for a thesis or whether you're trying to convince somebody, orally in a conversation, like a pitch or something. I think poetry can help with those kinds of things.
Poetry is negative space. It's not prose, which you have, where prose you can kind of be verbose and you have all this room to kind of say something. In poetry, it's negative space because you're working with a smaller palette and every word counts. I like things that are constraint-based. I like things that kind of challenge you, and poetry challenges you. And because I think it's part of that notion of it being negative space, that notion of it being kind of constraint-based, where you say, let's see how we can communicate something when we have to boil it down to the essence. And I think I love that aspect of it. Kind of at your leisure, or you can just walk by it and just think about poetry. I think everyone who walks by it, just for a fleeting second, brings poetry into their lives.